So I am taking the dough out of the fridge now. I'm placing the dough on the counter. As you see, the dough is in a glass container. I would avoid stainless steel, and this is a reaction. Um, so anyway, use glass or plastic. And I will just keep it on outside of the fridge. This is like 6:30 in the morning, so I just leave it there and do my thing. So the dough has been sitting here for, I'd say, a couple hours. So now I'm just gonna start my kettle, and I want to put it to about 40. And sometimes I stop it like at 35, whatever. And so what I'm doing now is I'm feeding it. And I will show you how I mix the water and the flour and let it grow a bit more. So before I just feed it, this dough has been sitting there for a week. So Clara doesn't like sourdough. So what I do is I just portion it a little bit, and then I just make a separate one for Clara because she likes sweeter dough. So when you want to do that, when the dough is getting too sour, you just put some yeast in a bowl, and so I just pour some water in the yeast. And I let that sit for a bit. A little bit of sugar to activate the yeast. And I let it sit there. So basically, I've cut the dough into 2 pieces, and when I did cut the dough, I did put a bit of flour. Just flour's your friend when you're working with dough. Remember that, because it tends to get quite sticky. So I'm going to put 1 piece in this bowl, and well, actually, I'm going to put the bigger piece in this bowl, because this piece here, and I don't worry about the frothing of the yeast. I just it always works, whether it's frothy or not. And when the dough is rising, it will rise. It maybe take a little bit longer, but I'm making buns for the hamburgers tonight, so they could rise all day. Yeast in here, that's for Clara. And then this is the sourdough one, and I'm just gonna put, this is how you feed the dough. Just put a bit of water. And then you just mix flour in and stir. Just gonna get a better spoon here. So, used to doing this with one hand, and my kids are still sleeping. So basically, you just keep on doing this until you get the same consistency as what you had before, but just more. So you just keep on adding flour, keep on stirring and mixing. So I'm just stirring and mixing. You can see now there's hardly any water left. So at this point, I kind of scrape off. So I've scraped off the spoon, the wooden spoon, scraped it off with my metal spoon. And now I'm just working the dough. And as you can see, it's gotten a lot bigger because I added more flour and water. But I just want to make it into a round ball. looking quite nice. You don't have to mix it too much. I mean, it does the work for you. So it's kind of like what I get, and then I just put a nice cross on it. And then I just kind of let that sit. And then I work on my other one. This is the one with yeast. Remember, this is going to be a little bit sweeter. And I basically do the same thing. Now, I could also put 7-Up in this. So I've opened up a little can of 7-Up. And, well, I'm not going to use all of it because I usually use all of it for a big, huge portion. But for this, I'm not going to use all of it. So basically, just continue putting flour. Well, I know it's going to take a lot of flour, so I'm just going to dump it in. You can do a little bit at a time, or you could, if you get used to how much flour you need to put in according to how much liquid you have, you'll know that you just kind of eyeball it and say, oh, it's going to take a lot, so you use a lot. So this is what it looks like now. Obviously it needs more flour. And you just keep on mixing. It's almost to the stage where I'm going to have to start using my hands again. So I once again clean off the spoon, mixing this dough with water. Well, no, the water was in there, sorry. I've just been pounding it and adding more and more flour. And it's starting to shape up really nicely. So it's looking like I could just leave it and you put your cross on there. There's many reasons for the cross, but purely scientific. It just shows you how much it's risen when you see the cross, the depth, how much it expands. You can tell how much it's risen, because sometimes you just don't remember what the size of it was before. So yeah, we're gonna put a plate on there. I just want to give it a little bit of air here. And as you notice in this one here, there's a little bit of air here as well. And yeah, that's it. You're just gonna let that rise, and as it rises, you can press it down. I'll show you that later. Okay, so it's been about an hour since, or maybe 2, and I could keep it in the bowls, or I could pan the dough. And when I'm making bread, I like to pan the dough, because then it rises in the form that I wanted to rise in. So what I've done is I've just taken some pans out, and I put a little bit of oil, and I'm going to just put a little bit of flour on the bottom. Nice and messy, eh, Louis? Okay, so if you come see here, the dough, the crosses that I drew in there, see how much is expanded? So, and this was Clada's, the one with the yeast, and I like to put flour whenever I work with the dough, because once again, it's just easier. So this is basically how it feels, right? You can put more flour to work it. What I'd like to do is make a few buns, hamburger buns. So I kind of just punch in a piece of dough, just punch it and turn, punch and turn. Just go like this. That's one. basically this is all that's left of the dough that I put yeast in. I made 6 buns, and now I'm working on the one without the yeast. This is going to be more sour. And basically I just do the same thing. These will expand, so they'll be like double that size. They'll be some nice big buns for hamburgers. And I just do the same thing. Pinch the bottom. Pinch the bottom. I just have to remember the pans, which one is which. I usually make more and then I just freeze them, or I put them in the fridge. It's gone the next day.